and the 6. And the 4 holes you drill for this to do this, you have to do them all at the same time. Don't drill that first one and come back later on and do the other ones. You want to do the layout, you want a brad point, you want to do them all at the same time.
Here, show that camera. That wasn't tilted, it was offset.
Yes. It's a lot of fun, but after you do it, after you turn it, there is some sanding involved, probably at least an hour out there on the patio, Bill, in the wood turner. You're out there sanding these away. This is a rolled rim platter. I did a couple of them. A lot of fun. As I remember, you're doing both sides because initially you're chucked up like this, working the back and working this, and then you turn it around. And this has to be worked both sides. John asked me about doing one. To do another one, I'd probably get 2 or 3 to get back into the grooves. 2019, that was a century ago. And this is my own creation. I came up to do something different for people that just have 1-inch stock. I call it an elevated platter or plate. And that's what we're going to work on today. So I've glued up 2 pieces of ash, put some accent wood in them, cherry walnut, and 2 pieces of dyed wood from a skateboard company that I bought some. I put a 2 1/8 inch recess in it. I cut the back and then added this foot on it to elevate the base. And we're going to work the base first and go from there. Who asked me about the back, the front? Who was asking me about the front today? Andy? Somebody was asking me about how do I keep working this. Well, I turned this yesterday and I thought it was right on the money. And then I turned it last night at 7 o'clock. And if you've seen, it's got pencil marks right here where it's out a little bit. So we're going to work that front edge. We're going to get the tailstock up. I'm going to take the pin out. How many of you have one ways? Anybody one ways? I take the pin out sometimes because I don't want to leave the dent in. I like to support the wood with the tailstock. I know in the manual he uses the worm screw, but I wanted this flat because of that, and this back part so it'd be flat. So we're gonna get this so it's supported and I don't have to worry about it. Well, somebody was asking me about how do you, I think it was Andy, how you handle the fact that that this wobbles. You don't want to try to decorate this after you've done the back. It won't support it. It'll move on you. Now I have had cases where it didn't and it came out nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean up this edge, inch and a half, depending on how much you want on the edge. And you see that I'm a little long on a couple spots. So I've sharpened up 4 bowl gouges just in case. Just in case. And we're going to clean that edge up. Sure. It was you, Andy. You worried about coming out. We clean this face up on this side and we decorate on this side before we turn it around. If you don't do that, all bets are off. One. No, I don't. Some woods will handle it better. Cherry, being closed grain, and walnut might handle it better than an open grain like ash or oak. Um, but I had a bowl to bring. In fact, it's the back of my truck, blank. It had a couple cracks in it, and I was looking at it, and I had this ash, and similar to that. And I thought, well, let's see how we do with the ash. It might tear it out when we go texture it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So let's clean this edge up. So I want this edge to go in, I don't know, a couple degrees. I don't want it flat. I want it to taper in, and I want to get this flat here. Just using a pull. All right, Andy, I think we got it flat. Yeah, it's got some marks in it, but we'll clean that up. I got some of this sandy pads from my buddy Craig. He quit turning. He went to fishing. So we're going to use some of that pads to clean that up. Let's get that cleaned up, get that edge nice and smooth. We get that. Any of you guys use these pads before? I guess they're pretty expensive stuff, but he was getting out and I said, hey, I'll take that from you. So we'll take it down to 330. All right. All right. So not perfect, but I think we can do a demo. I can see a line in here where it didn't quite get real smooth, but we'll come in here and we'll get texturing on it. I'm going to lower this a little. No, I'm down all the way and go. Okay. So I'm going to, we see on the top, we're seeing that yet, seeing that very good. Can't see, can you see, can't see this very good. I'm on the back side, can you? All right. So I'm going to texture on this side with the tool, and I'm going to set some parameters and try to put an edge in that. You have to remember that you want the tool away so it'll spin and not tear up the rest and or the tool. So I have that away. I have it down to the bottom. We're going to go with the texturing. This comes with a couple different wheels. Oh, I forgot to tell you. All right. Good deal. I'm not sure what I want to do. Jeff just jumped on me and said, hey, what are you doing? You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So let's say he's right. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So let's do this. Serious note. Don't know what we're going to do. You take the back side of this. Okay. Almost forgot an important thing. Clean that up. Okay. Right? You with me? Let's take a look. See what it looks like. Let's get that speed down. Down to around 500. And we're going to get the tool on it and we're going to practice and see what it looks like. Because we can always cut this away. That's too fast. A little bit too fast. Okay, so first thing you should remember from the demo is practice on the back. I almost messed you up on that. So I don't know that you can see it real well, but you can see the some of the texturing in there. We can highlight it by putting we could put a point tool on each side to help highlight it. Didn't have, I think that's better than the spiraling tool. Get our speed down a little bit. It's not flat, so we got a little problem. It's bouncing on us. So practice on the back. It's almost like staccato marks on it. I don't really care for it. So I am going to go with the texture on the front. Now we could go with a knurling wheel, and I brought one. We'll clean up the. Let's see what we can do on that. It may not look good there, but okay, knurling tool. Wagner makes them. You can get them. I only brought one size. It comes in 3 different sizes. We can practice with that. You want to get the speed down on that, we can do it on the back. Again, a good place to practice on the back. We're going to go on the on here kind of slow. I like around about 150. Go back in. Yeah. I don't know if that shows up very well. It doesn't. I don't think you can see it real well on the camera. How much pressure do I have to apply? I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it. And one thing you'll notice when you start doing that, on these teeth, they're with on the Wagner sign up, the right tooth is half a tooth versus a full tooth. And as you're putting it on there, the tailstock was a little bit in the way. You might have to push to the right or left to get it to embellish. The other thing to remember, the physics from this is, where does this thing want to go? It wants to go out that way. So you have to be aware that as you put it on there, if it messes, it's going to move out. Won't move in, but it will want to get and move out, want to skate out this way. So we practice on the back. I'm going to go back to the front, and I'm going to use this tool on that front edge. I think that's the way I want to go. If you're not sure, go back to the back and practice. Big thing to take away from the demo, practice on the back and go to the front. Let's see what if it's still holding up. Oh yeah, still looking pretty good. Still looking flat. And while I'm here, highlight. Oh, sure, we can do that. Sure. I don't think. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Professor Sapp, I came prepared. Which color would you like to try next? Green. Green's been denied. All right, can you see that better or no? Doesn't show a little bit. Okay, so you'll see a little bit of the texturing come out better. All right, for the person who wanted green. So on the green, you can see a little bit of the, I call it staccato, the little marks that go in there, sharp point. So I bring these for tops. All right, so we're gonna go back to the front. We're gonna work that front edge, but I tell you while I'm here, I am gonna clean up that one edge. Because I want it to be crisp too, but I'm gonna take it off later on. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now I have this roughly pretty smooth here, and you might wonder why I'm not taking it down any farther. When we get done, it's not going to be too much of an edge to work on, but I think it's pretty smooth for right now. So let's move back this side. Check this edge out. I think we've got it cleaned up. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We'll get the tool over here. Now, it is difficult to get in here, okay? Anybody tells you it's not true. It's hard work, but we're gonna try to get in here. It will keep us from getting to a point. If we don't do it, then you come on the other side and it goes in and out, and you get the point tool and they go in and out. You'll see where on coming out to you, it's deeper than going away from you. So let's see what we can do. We got everything locked in place. Work for speed. I have it about, I don't know, 300. Now, that was a little too fast. Anybody know why? No, as you move from the inside to the out, it goes faster on the outside than it does on the inside. And I was back in about 2 inches. So it's not real deep, but we're going to go with it. All right, I'm going to go back in with a point tool, and we're going to highlight. So that's the outer edge I'm catching right there. And my eyes aren't as good as they used to, so I have to stop it to see where it is. That's the inner edge right there. So we have those highlighted. And you want to burn it with a wire right now, right? That's really what you want to do. But we don't. So we're going to use some Formica. See if we can get that to pop up. Breathing too hard. I'm breathing too hard. All right. All right, I tried to use the Formica to set the two lines a lot. I'm not happy with this edge we got in there. We might have to go back and just touch that up. But Formica is one way to get a line to show up if you can't get a wire on it. There's other tools to do that. I just happen to keep a piece in my one of my bags for that reason. All right, so we've got this on this side done, and we'll it should be flat for us when we go around, but if not, we've got this done and we're saying finished with it. If we have to sand, we can touch up a little bit. So I'm going to go back and work the back side, and we're going to try to do two things. We're going to try to get this base cleaned up. We're going to try to put a taper in it, and we're also going to put a place to grab, a place for the fingers. Can you see that? Where am I at? Yeah, I'm all right. So there's a place to grab the fingers. So we're going to try to do that on this edge because it's much more pleasing to grab the plate or platter if you've got that little cove right underneath there. And we're going to try to work on that. All right, so for the base, I think we're gonna clean that down, take that down a little bit. Let's see, what do we have? Okay, I want to make sure I got that least underside so it doesn't rock. All right, so I got a ruler on it and this is lower than this. I want to try to minimize that so I don't get a rocking motion. And I have a little bit of, it's not bad, a little bit of black marks and cleanups to do there. So we'll get in there and clean that up, then we'll decorate this bottom. And one of those. I'll just get in with a scraper. All right. All right, so that needs a little bit of sanding because it's going to show up. And we don't want to have to go back and sand a little bit. So I want to I won't spend a lot of time sanding, but get that cleaned up. Get the speed, keep the speed down below 1,000. Make your paper too hot. And that 180, I should have got some new sandpaper. Okay. It's not bad. It's not great though. Where's that? Where's that? 120. All right. So we're going to come up with a decoration on the bottom. How many people look at the bottom of the bowl? Anybody back roll? You do? You're all turners. How many people, normal people, look at the bottom of the bowl? I'm sorry, for the audience, how many normal people look at the bottom of the bowl? You guys, okay. Mostly wood turners turn to the bottom of the bowl. But will Mrs. Brown look at it? Maybe. I tell you what, those wood turners are turning. All right, so we've got a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a couple things to embellish. Anybody have any D-way tools? I'm not looking. I can come back there. That's too small. $316. Anybody have any D-way tools? Okay. So you could come with a point tool and do it and eyeball it, or you could use a pair of my favorites, wing dividers. Okay. Any of the old timers? These were used in metal shops, and you get in, you're only supposed to get the left side, but if you get caught with the right side, this set won't bend. It'll probably jump off the lathe and hit you, but you could also use wing dividers to method. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out a pattern, and then we're going to put the point tool back in. I should go 1/4 inch. That's what I ought to do, 1/4 inch. So Sorby has some of these, but this guy in Washington has these, and they're really nice for doing beads. If you're in a hurry, you want to do some beads. But they're also nice for laying out concentric rings. Can you see those? Raise your hands. I can't see them. Let me get this one deep enough. All right, so I put a concentric rings in it, and then I'm going to go back in with a point tool, put it a little bit deeper. And it's, I should turn that off. Go back in the point tool, flat part up. Go back into the point tool, a little deeper, a little more definition. Okay. Then I want to do, oh, that's too big. What I want to do is I want to get in with a small texturing tool. And I did bring it. And we're going to do a little bit, we'll try to do the flower on the bottom. Anybody done the flower before on the bottom? Nobody? Wayne? All right, so there is a hole there and we're going to use a hole to our advantage. We're not going to try to cut that out. I'm going to come in slow. Back this off a little bit. Oh, maybe about 200. 240. Make sure you don't get your wheel on. It's a little bit high, a little bit high. That's 300. All right. All right. Didn't exactly come out the way I want. We're going to make a change. Then I'm going to turn it this way, about a 45. Okay. So I don't know if you can see real well on that. Probably not. But I need to delineate between each one. And that's what we're using the point tool for. You see in there? No. All right. We're going to do it anyway here. I should move this closer for the point tool. And I'm a little low. Can you see? I want to be on center. I want to be on center. Move it up. I want the flat part up. And I want to see where the line goes between them. Younger eyes can see it easier. That one is going to be, we'll go to the center. All right. We'll get this one right here. Okay, so you have that wood that you've raised up, and you need to take it off a little bit. So get some 320, lightly. Lightly is a key word. Get some 320, and just lightly take that down. It'll take the raised part off. If you don't, it'll feel rough. All right, so we've got that embellished there. And for some of you, we can always do a little bit more. There's another way also to, right here on the bottom where we've got that last piece where it may not be real clean. I can just come in here with this and straight in and just take it over to the edge without getting the edge and just put a texturing in right there. And yes, I'm pushing it pretty hard. And you don't have to go back and clean it up. Now, some people think it's over the top. You know, it just depends. It's, to me, it's like the hot rods of the 50s where they had a lot of pinstriping. Some were over the top, some were middle of the road, and some were small and discreet. So I've got that pretty much the way I want on the bottom. I've got the base detailed. Some wood turner turnover on the bottom, that there's some thought to it. Now I'm going to work this side. I want to take something off the side, put a little bit taper coming up to the base of the platter. And hopefully I've left enough room that it allow me to get in there. Questions? No questions? All right. Yeah, I got a little chipping going on there, so I'm gonna have to do something to chipping right at the edge. Wasn't counting on that. So let's clean that. Where I did a bead coming in there, wasn't counting on this. So we're gonna have to make an adjustment here. We're gonna have to take that in. Almost put a step in it. I didn't count on that. We'll take this and a little tighter. Got a catch. All right. So I've got a little step that I can add right here. Kind of show that it's lifting off. And I'm looking at this base almost like it needs something. It looks just pretty flat. I got it. Come on. Cut back the other way. Okay. So I've got a little tear out there. A little tear out. See if we can just scrape it through. All right, I got a little tear out in the ash coming through. Don, you said change grain, but right here, I got a little bit of tear out right there. Probably sanding might take it away. All right, so I have the base up into the top. Could certainly use some sanding. I won't spend much time sanding it, otherwise we might be here a while. I wanted to give the stand a little different look. Could have maybe a taper, even more of a taper. In the handout, I believe Andy likes to go from the, he's got diameter radius in there. I think that's a mistake. So let's just talk diameter. So this is basically 12 across. I like the diameter, the foot to be half that. So that'd be 6 inches. And if you're talking radius and come on, let's make it easy for our students. Andy likes to see about a third. Not you, Andy, Andy Gunning, different Andy. Go with half. If half looks too big, you can always cut it back. If you go with a third, the problem is it's hard to add wood to it. So in the syllabus, he's got 12. Go with half, 6. You know, if you decide later on it's too big, which it might be too big, always cut it down. But adding on wood is kind of tough. And then somebody came up, pointed one of the plates I have there. It was too small, and it will rock. So that's where I make a little bit of difference between me and the syllabus and what it has in there. All right, so we've got the base somewhat shaped. I don't necessarily care what I've done, maybe more of a taper. But now we're going to go work this base here to get it cleaned up. Normally, we would do a Roman OG. I'm going to try to do some taper that's got the OG in it. But the biggest thing I want to do is I want to get that lip in so I can grab it. Really do. I mean, until you think about it, somebody says, now go grab that one that's got the lip in it. you don't notice it, but once you notice it, it's much easier to grab. So we're going to go work this. I'll clean this up a little bit on the base, come out here, we'll put the lip in. Questions? Sure. All right. Now I'm going to use a pull cut. We could use push cut. Now, one way to cut the material is a step cut. We'll cut down some steps, move back in. We'll go step, step, step. Especially on a 2-inch piece, you can step all the way back. It's a lot of material to work with. Instead of trying to take a big sweeping cut, you can make step cuts back. A little easier to control. All right, so I don't have that cleaned up in the back. We need to get that cleaned up a little bit. All right, let's see, where's the key? All right, every so often, and we should stop and do it right now, is it tight? Is it tight? Just double check. All right, so that's needs to come back in a little bit. I'm not happy with that. We'll go back in. Lock that down. All right. That's not bad. Oh yeah. We got a little deeper there. Okay, so the material didn't go down far enough on this one side, so I'm gonna take it in deeper. So when I glued up, for some reason it didn't go farther. So on this side, I'm gonna have to, which will be on this side too, take it down, I don't know, 30-second. Get it down, get that cleaned up. Still not quite there. Making step cuts. So how thick should you make your platter or bowl? Anybody? Any ideas? I've seen them down to an 1/8 inch. I've seen them 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is can be a little heavy. I was telling some people before the class that I thought this one was a little heavy in that it just felt heavy. Yeah, you're all right, Rob. So part of it, how does it feel? And if you get down to 1/8 of an inch, your customers may not be comfortable with it because it feels like it might break. So it's something to think about. Now, for wood turning class, you need 1/8 inch to go show the other students that you can turn down to eighth inch. So I don't know what's this looks like right now. Right now it's at oh, it's easily 5/16, almost 3/8. So we're gonna take some of that back off and get that a little thinned out. I think that's enough to put that lip in. Oh, I need to check this. What did that look like? Oh, better, not great, but better. Let's see if we have one more to cut. Let's see what's that look like now. Better. Okay. So Andy, let's see. I'm still good on the front. Pretty good. The back's not bad either. Can you see that? It's pretty good still. All right. So I'm going to see if I can get the rest of this up and put the finger grip in it. All right, so I'm going back, turned at almost 90, the 3 o'clock, so I don't get this thing to run out. Really going uphill, I really want to come down. All right, see, not too bad. I don't quite like how it feels, so I'm gonna move it back just a touch. Square this off a little bit. Got a catch. All right, so I don't know, shape's not too bad. Needs a little bit of sanding, maybe a little bit deeper. We're 1/4 inch, I'm sure. A 1/4 inch right there. It's a lot of material. This needs to be smoothed out a little bit. It kind of has a OG shape, kind of not great, but all right. So we'll come back in here. We'll get some of this sandpaper, smooth that up a little bit. Find some of the poor tool marks. Keep it down to 1,000. Still holding pretty square, Andy. You got lucky. Yeah. Hasn't moved yet. All right. I've got a sharp edge on here. We're going to clean that edge up. I'm sorry. I can't hear you. What's that? Pencil mark. Oh, you don't want to see a pencil mark? I want to see a pencil mark. Oh, we can put a pencil mark on that thing. Not on the front side. We'll do it on the back side. Sure. Carpenter's pencil, okay? All right. Well, it didn't get all the way. Got to get a little high and low spots. Oh, I'm still pretty happy with it though. You happy? Yeah. B's fine. If we can get 2,000 for it, that's going to take the B. All right. So all right. It could stand to be a little bit deeper here. Maybe we'll make that. But yeah, it's just not quite, it'll work. All right. So I brought the ELF tool and we're going to put a designer edge in there with the ELF tool. And this, you have to get your speed down. This thing will scream. So I'm going to try to get it at 180. Lock the tool wrist down. Oh yeah, very nice, very nice. All right, so it's pretty good. Don't forget to take that down. 320, really light. Yeah, you can't see it. We'll pass it around. 320, real light. I can put a felt pin on it right now. That'll. Well, yeah, the trouble is this light wood, and it's, I tell you, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. There's another thing we can do in here. Okay, so we also can do something else. I've used lines before, you can feel it too. And then for definition, we're gonna go back in with a piece of Formica. And it did bleed over a little bit, but you can see the, so you might be able to pick up a little bit on the, it actually could go a little deeper. Okay. So the groove helps the finger pick up where you want it to, feels a little bit too smooth, but my hand's not going to come out there because I'm gonna pick it up as I'm lifting. And just drop my wing dividers. Okay, so I've got this roughed out pretty good. For you that in the back row that don't think we're over the top enough, where'd it go? I'm going to put some knurling right here. So you can see that we're going to get low speed and it's walking on me. All right. All right. So it didn't come out too heavy on the right, not heavy enough on the left. Now it's real difficult to go back and get back up where it was to catch it. And this lathe is moving. Let's see if we can just lightly catch it. All right, it doubled over okay. Let's clean that off. Let's do some 320 on it. All right, so I'm going to take 320 and clean it up a little bit. And then what I'll do here is the point tool to causes the eye to go to the design, and I'm going to just do it on the outside, one face up on the point tool. You can hear a little bit of it moving. I know when you heard it going, tut, 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 it's not quite flat. Yeah, it didn't get quite there. Couple spots. We'll get a little closer. Well, we could slow it down a little bit. I don't know if it'll grab it just as. Yeah. And then we'll
Slow down a little bit, put more pressure.
okay. Okay. Well, as I was doing it, putting pressure on, I realized I didn't have these locked down and started moving on me. All right, so I'm going to get the okay, so that will help. I don't know, can you see that on the line? Kind of help define that inside and the knurling there, and then the lip on the outside. So notwithstanding doing a lot more sanding, let's move to the other side. And that's still quite a bit of base there. And a lot of times what I'll do, I'm not quite sure that it's as flat as I want it to be. But I want to make sure it's flat. I haven't checked it. I don't know if any of you do this. I want to get it flat. I want to make sure it's pretty flat. Now you put too much on the chuck here, you can blow out your recess. I haven't done many, but I have blown out a couple. All right, so I've got it chucked in. Let's see how. What do you think, front row? Is it doing this? Pretty flat, huh? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, so now we've got this edge. I don't like what I've done here, so I might have to come back in. You see the burn mark got a little bit past where I wanted it to go. So I got some 320. That's the trouble with using the Formica. If you don't have it real thin, because it's a certain thickness, if you push too hard, it bleeds out on the sides. So I've got some there that really bled over. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can't sander. Typically I take a oscillating sand or something else, and I sand it side down so I get it thinner. I could spend some time on that. We won't. I can do it later. What I'm going to do is try to take you down into the bowl some, and we won't finish it all, but we will talk about it. Now, there are many shapes you can do for a platter or bowl. One that I was coached not to do is not do the collection platter at church, where it goes in and then down like that, like straight sides. That's supposed to be a no-no. I like slight tapers. The instructor liked more of a deep in. Remember though, you've got a plate here. We have some room. I'll tell you what we have. What do we? There it is. We have back here. We're at a full inch. Right here, quarter inch. Right here in the meat, we're 7/8 of an inch. So we got some room to work with. Now, on a platter, it helps to have one of these. Okay, you can guess, sure, no problem. But if you're using a Nova 2-inch, that hole should be 2 1/4 so that you can get this in between the jaws. You don't have to have one of these, and they're kind of expensive. Now, since we can't go to the bottom with this, I guess we could guess. But the problem of going too far on this is we're going to be what? Into the walnut base. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a cut at kind of a shape. I will leave a little bit of room so I can cut a recess in it, regroup this, recut it when I get home. But I want to get a look at what we can do to bring this in. So I will, I'm going to put a recess here, inset, and then we're going to start by cutting into the bowl. Yes. Sorby pays me $25 to use this when it goes out on the video. So why did I start with the parting tool out? Thank you very much, Rob. Why did I start with the parting tool out here on the outer edge? One, it keeps me from skating back into what I created that I don't want to mess up if I really don't want to do that. And the parting tool keeps me because I can make that cut and drop in here, and that edge will keep me from walking back over to what I can't fix. Yes, sir. You could, yes. I'm sorry. Right, you could, we could do that. That's a good idea, Wayne. Uh, nub or no nub? You either way, okay. And the reason I asked that for on the nub, there are times you don't want that in there because then you're having to clean that up. And this will give you enough protection if that gets loose or something from bouncing out. So just FYI, that nub comes out. Uh, some are tighter than others. I know the Laguna comes out. It's got a real nice fit. So good point, Wayne. So we'll put the live center. I was having trouble with that into the plate. So I got a place. I'll take the bowl gouge, put it right up in here. Clean this off a little bit. All right, all right, all right. We're at about 2,000. Be sure to turn when you get up to another edge back over to 3 o'clock so you don't get a big catch. All right, so how deep are we? How comfortable do you feel going down? So we're half inch, 5/8. We're 5/8 there. Uh, maybe half there. So we have some material. There's our time allocation. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit more in here and then more questions. Now I'm not taking the center out. And the reason I'm not taking the center out is I think I'm going to go back and do some work at home to clean up the other side, and that'll keep me from having to recut. But you can get a look. We actually need to clean that up a little bit. And this particular piece had bugs in it. Where is it? Yes, it did. It did. After I got it glued up, I said, I should clean that off. But I think I put it to the back to try to hide those. I don't see them showing up. Anybody familiar with, I don't know if they're termites or they're postwood beetle. So I will get a scraper in there, put a sharp edge on my tools before he came today. And let's see if we can clean that up. I don't, there's that. That's in the way a little bit. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We'll pull that out. See how bad it is. Not bad. Let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, let's get a little vibration on the outside. You can hear it. Can you hear it? I can hear it. Right there. Right there. Boy, it's not still pretty ripply. It's pretty ripply. All right. Boy, that is just not getting very flat. Well, I need a bigger scraper. And the reason I'm not taking the center out is I'm going to work on taking this, make this into a bead. So I still have some work there. But you can see what we started with. Let's see what it looks like here. Still not bad. Still not bad. Questions? None? Firewood? Ash. I 7-inch ash board and went down. I said, okay, we're gonna make this 14, cut 2 off. And I really, Jeff, on a serious note, I wanted to put it on the side because design wise, the accent should be over on a side, you know. And I looked at that and to split it and like Bill said, put it, move it. And I think I did this on Friday. I glued this thing up on Friday. I had my other bowl blank ready to go, but it had a couple cracks and I didn't like it. And, I had those for sale. I didn't want to part with those. And so I said, let's glue this up, see what we could. Like I said, I had some of that skateboard wood, the blue and the pink. Yes, sir. No. All right. So we'll have a design split down the center. Did I ever try match? No. You're gonna spend a lot of, my opinion, you're gonna spend a lot of time chasing to get that middle where if you're off to one side, boom. What? Yes, there's going to be one customer wants to do it, and yes, maybe your personality that likes doing that. For me, no. I'm just, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. The pill boxes. One of my buddies says, two buddies I know for sure. I don't know if they wanted to be called my buddy, but two gentlemen I know, they don't like to do repetitive work. Okay, so I don't mind doing repetitive work, and improving the skills, muscle skills. What doesn't get right? What didn't I get right the first time? When I did those rolled edged, when Andy put that on the table, I could see it. And he says, you got to work both sides. And I got in the zone. I mean, I got in the zone working to both sides. But to get back in the zone to do that might take 2 or 3. Same with down the middle. Is that your strength? Maybe you want to try it. I know Wayne, you might want to be willing to go try that. I just know that would, and Rick might sit down and go do that. I just know that'd be a frustration for me. And let's put it off to one side. You got to know your strengths and weaknesses, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, all right. So on the back, before I get to you, Andy, I did some, the 3 scoops and the 2 bottle openers. I sealed them with CA glue at the end. I'm still working on that. Not happy with how it came out, but I wanted something different. So I put CA glue and tried the CA glue on. A couple of them didn't come out very good. It get kind of got a ripple effect. But I potentially could see going down. I tried one on a pen before and it went south about 5 years ago. So I gave that a shot. It was some older CA. We'll see where it goes. I think you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. You need to practice on those maybe. And some people like doing this. That just seems like, more than I want to do. Does that answer your question, sir? Okay. Anybody else? Andy. Go ahead. I'm using Tide Bond 3, waterproof. You could use a regular if you're not going to go outside. The 2, I had it, or 3, I had it. It was still good shape. Oh, good point though. Thanks for bringing it up. Put glue on both sides of everything, especially the skateboard stuff. Or if you use veneer, you don't know if it's going to come apart. You put it just on one side. Getting too loud? No. Okay. So, you want glue on both surfaces coming up, especially that veneer. And these 2 walnut ones I happen to have, and they had a little bit of a warp to them, but I like the color in it. And I had some huge clamps to put them on it. Make sure you put glue on both sides, not just on one side. It's going to get there. You're going to have excess glue, safety wise. You don't want this thing coming apart right there at that wood. Anything else? Questions? Yeah, Tide Bond 3. You could use a regular Tide Bond. I just happen to have it. I think at North Carolina they use the just a regular, but if you have waterproof, why not? Go ahead. Point tool. Point tool. I made this point tool. I got the shaft and this from the point right here. Very good. You see it? I got this from North Carolina Wood Turners. It's like 15, call it 15, 10 for this. And then I built it. I have one at home. I can't find these anymore, but you could use a brass fitting that fits on there that you could turn on and off with a brass shaft. You could do that. I have 3 of these. And since you brought it up, good point. Nothing like the lead in. Thank you, Andy. You get extra bonus points. Give him extra cookies today, Charlie. So, all right. So this is 3 points. 3 points, 3 sides. Thank you. 3 sides. And the flat side should be up. You can, basically I lay it down on the flat, one-way tool rest and just lay it on the grinder. On the other end, you drill the hole right, you've got this tool, which is 2-sided. Thank you. You've got this tool, which is 2-sided, and this allows you to make the V groove deeper, more definition. I sometimes forget to pull this out, but yeah. I could not find these collets anymore. I was out in California at a woodcraft. Oh yeah, you used to have them. Oh yeah, they're on the shelf. They're not on the shelf. And I haven't been able to find them anywhere, even on eBay. But then somebody said, because I've got a 4th one I'd like to put together just to have. A copper collet in the plumbing department, 1/4-inch size, will work. You drill it out, work out. Basically, you chuck this thing up, you drill down the 1/4-inch. I don't know, it's down here pretty deep. I got a long drill bit. And then you see, which do you drill first? The big hole, then the little hole, right? Big hole first, right? Then the little hole. No, I don't think so. I think there's a step, because if you drill the little hole, the big one, will it rattle around? Because this is like, Right. Yeah, because this collet is, don't hold me to it, it might be 3/8 or bigger than this shaft. And it doesn't go as far, but I drilled this down, about 7, 8 inches to allow this almost to go down in case you want to go on the road with it. But yeah, they had these. I have not been able to find them. They're just an aluminum collet with a Allen wrench on them. True, they got pyramid. Embellish your tool to show yours, to show a little distinction, to be a little cooler. I even left the mount point there. Some people clean it up, but um, yeah, it's a great tool. Yes. You need to practice rolling the beads before you go do that first one you want to do on your platter. You should go practice on a piece of junk wood to make sure you've got that technique down. It just doesn't come. Some people are great at it. Others people got to practice. I found I got to really practice. And the next thing is, you rolled a bead 6 months ago. It was pretty good. You did pretty good on it, Sean. You felt really pretty good. You haven't rolled for 6 months. Then Wayne comes by and says, okay, show me roll it some 10 beads. I need to get warmed up. I need who's the other, some other turner. He had to get warmed up before he got going on. I'd like to fit some things. Questions? Concerns? All right, I'll pass this around. Unchuck it. It's still, I'm sure, it's a little rough on the front, so don't cut yourself. And it's still a little heavy. Oh yeah, it's real heavy. So what we could do to lighten this up down the road is we could cut this out and relieve this a little bit. It just feels a little, huh? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, it probably could hollow it out some and lighten it up. Yeah, that's all you, because it's just too heavy, my opinion. But again, there's still some mass in there, and you could put a bead on that outside edge, and it's good to throw pastries and something else on it. You can also use it for frisbees on the weekend. Let's see, what else do we have? Winner. Number 4. Cool. Okay, so Glenn, I don't know what the door prizes are today, but congratulations. One other footnote I'd like. You good. Thank you very much. I just used the kit. This kit suggests being used on 7-inch mandrel on your pen mandrel, drill all the way through, but you don't have to. You can drill a 27/64 hole through here, chuck it up, turn it like you want, and then take the handle and use these scoops. Now, I had to use epoxy. It gets to be kind of a mess to make sure, but this has got CA glue on it, and I forget Hermango Negro. Hermango Negro is this wood. I was sitting in my garage, and I thought I'd do something else with. Yeah, that didn't quite get centered, but it's got CA glue and it's got epoxy. I don't know if you and I think the direction said something else, but the casting on it has some sharp edges. You might have to file those off, but you don't have to use that pen mandrel to make it. That's what I'm getting at. You can just chuck this thing up, drill 2764, turn it around into your 60 point and between centers and clean it up, do a design on it, and then part it off on the one end and go from there. Sure. White vinegar? Okay. Well, you only have what, 4 or 5 minutes to get that finished before it starts hardening. I think it's a little bit better than CA, but oh, and run a test fit with the handle and the scoop before you put the CA or before you put the epoxy to make sure it fits okay. Because 27/64, it's a little bit, it's a nice fit, but you just got to run it in there. Otherwise, if you got CA in it and you're finding it doesn't fit in, you're gonna have a mess. Not CA, epoxy. I use epoxy on those. All right, no other questions? Hey, these are all show and no. What's your first name again? Rich. These are all show and no go. You know, I made one for the wife, and on the bottom, it right near the bottom, it's got a round scoop, and then the cone down below it. And I said, "Did you see that in the design? It's got a scoop of ice cream, and the cone." Oh no, I didn't see it. It's right on the bottom. And so all show and no go. We'll see how they go. If not, guess what? I've got a couple brothers and sisters and cousins. Guess what they're getting for Christmas? All right, that's all I have. Charlie, you have anything else? Thanks for coming. Andy, did you get people down to look at your wood? Okay. And somebody else who had books? Somebody else had books. Did he leave already? Okay, all right. But the rest of the people, you still have some, she took them all. What name of the book again? Fine Woodworking. Your first name again? Becky's got a bunch of fine woodworking magazines, and they're going on to somebody else that will get some use out of them. They were a great book when they came out. They're really fantastic. Great idea. Great idea. No, they're a really good book when they came out. I remember they were, what, the 80s, 85, 84 came out. All right, that's all I have. We'll go from there.